What's happening, everybody? Trey Bodwin here, and welcome to another great segment of TreyFinds Cars. Today, we are going electric, guys. We are talking about EVs, and I cannot wait to get started. This is a topic that I've been wanting to discuss with everybody here for the past year. It's been a long time coming, and now that new developments have been made, I'm going to answer a lot of questions, address a lot of myths, and then we're going to find out, is it really worth it? So stay tuned. Here we go. The wonderful world of EV, man, let me tell you, just off of the looks alone of a lot of these vehicles, I'm completely excited. I had a chance to go out to the SEMA show and see some aftermarket companies that are actually doing what I call restorations, and they're taking out engines of old cool cult cars and putting electric motors in it. It's just a transformation process. I mean, and it looks great. I'm going to have to send a link to the most recent thing I saw from Motor Trend. They had a old school Hyundai that was released in concept, of course, and oh my goodness, it looks great. I have an affinity to cars that are of the 90s decade, just because, man, I really think that, that's when cars were kind of at their best, in my opinion. Blame me, I'm a 90s kid. So there we have it. Now, to give you guys a list of what we're going to talk about today, it's going to be short and sweet, but it's going to be so influential. We're going to talk about the front runners. Who are the top guys in terms of EV companies and manufacturers that are coming out with great EV products? We're going to talk about the looks and what it means from a very general level. And then we're also going to look at the realistic expectations, talk about the batteries, of course, talk about, can you live with it? Can you live without it? And go from there. So with that being said, why don't we start with the front runners? I think a lot of you guys already know who two of them are. I would say Tesla still remains as number one. I've had conversations with a lot of my close friends and colleagues, and they believe that Tesla is going to eventually become more of a battery distributor rather than a car company. And I'm like, hey, whatever they're doing now, 10 years from now, it doesn't matter. These guys are the pioneers of the game. It's super cool that they're here in the U.S. Because I think it sets the blueprint for a progressive automotive world. So Tesla is on my list for number one. Rivian and Lucid are right behind them as EV companies solely. And then I really call me biased, but I really like what Ford is doing so far with their electric branding and how they're ushering in a whole new world. We're going to see a lot more companies do it. And I guarantee you this, if you're watching any regular TV show or sports game, you will see commercials from almost every brand advertising their either just dropping or soon to drop EV list and lineup. I think, these electric vehicles, guys, they look so cool and futuristic. They're very new. Trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. Give it about 5 years when these things actually touch down. We are going to see, in my opinion, an adoption of EVs just spike up. Just off of looks alone. There are a lot of people who are in the game for performance, and EVs are at the top of the list there too. The Roadster, the Tesla Roadster, if I'm not mistaken, is doing 0 to 60 in 1.9. It's just an ungodly amount of speed. So you're going to get some adoption. I'm going to talk about, what I've heard from people who are, I would call them the traditionalists, right? I got to have a motor. I need gasoline. Hey, trust me, I get it. I grew up in the world of gasoline and I absolutely love it. But I'm running out of, objections. These EV vehicles are now becoming not only just more attractive, but, from a performance standpoint, they're doing as much as a gasoline vehicle would, if not more. And then you top that off with, you get to save the planet. I mean, come on. It's just a win-win for everybody. So let's dive in the looks a little bit. If you've ever seen any retro movies where you've seen the old cars, and especially the old Lamborghini Countach or, the Ferrari Testarossa, you see these cars and you're like, man, these things are awesome. They're great, and they are. I won't say were, they are still awesome cars. I think we have an opportunity to get back to that excitement level just off of the appearance alone. There's just a lot of pulchritude in EVs now. You look at one of the first ones to do it, which was BMW's i8, which, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I believe there was just a straight electric car. It may have been a hybrid. I've only sat in one. I've never driven one. Maybe I should have looked it up. But the point is that car cosmetically was just such a good looking car. And I think it's going to end up becoming a cult classic because it didn't sell as well as people thought it would for a number of reasons that I won't go into. However, the looks are important. There's a lot of people, just as many people that love cars for the performance, there's a lot of people that just like them for the functionality and the looks. You look good, you feel good, all of that. It still rings true within the entire automotive market. So looking at this from a appearance perspective, you're going to get a lot of people to adopt it. As I said, I think that that's a great example. I mean, I owned a Mustang in the past. I saw the new Mach-E and it looks great, especially in person. Some people are just like, oh man, Mr. Shelby is rolling in his grave. And I'm like, if he was able to collect the paychecks, which his family probably still is, with all respect, that Shelby, I personally think that he would be proud of where Ford has gone with this thing. This is an eventuality thing, right? This is not a end all be all. This is not a, hey, EV is here today and gone tomorrow. We're seeing a lot of these manufacturers jump into the market head first for a reason. Next, the realistic expectations. I mean, yes, the battery part still has to get a lot better. We understand that. But from what I just read yesterday, right, Ford and Purdue are working on this core that can generate enough current to charge an EV fully within 5 minutes. Pin drop. Like this, what else do you want? This was one of the main objections that people had, the fear of, man, I really don't want to sit at a charging station for an hour, or why does it take 8 hours to charge my Mustang Mach-E? Like it is a real concern. It's a realistic concern, but guys, that's going to go away. And we have proof of it in the project of what Purdue and Ford are working on. Shout out to my buddy Edgar, who went to Purdue. He's the only person that I know that went to Purdue, and he's in the auto industry as well. So if you're watching this or listening to this, shout out to you, man. Hang tight. And I think next would probably be safety. Safety is another reason to adopt an EV. I think the EV model, with having the battery obviously positioned where it is at the bottom middle or bottom front, bottom back, it doesn't matter. It just weighs so much that it's, the safety ratings so far have looked great. You look at Teslas, and I haven't seen Rivians, but they just look great, and you get a lot of attractive features in them. Something that I skipped over when we were talking about looks, I don't know if you guys have seen the interiors on some of these EVs, but I'd suggest you check out the new e-tron, right? Check out the new Ford Lightning. Check out the new Tesla, what is it, the Model X? I have a friend that just purchased one, and I rode in it for the first time out in Vegas. Guys, Falcon doors, what else do you want me to say? This thing is just a sexy vehicle, and most of them are. Just as soon as we've all, as a, automotive North American culture, have adopted these panoramic sunroofs and, glass pane roofs, now almost every EV is coming with it. So cosmetically, you just can't beat it. It looks great. Now, going back to the expectations here, let's talk about sound. Yeah, they're quiet. Yeah, some people may want to hear an engine, but you can also have that added on, right? There are features within some of these vehicles, if not most of them, where you can actually hear a synthetic engine revving as you are driving. I personally like the little wind turbine noise because it just sounds futuristic, but yes, you can have, an aggressive sounding motor pumped through the speakers within the car, so that way you get this impression in the sound that, yeah, like I'm really getting on it. And in my opinion, here's the deal. I'm sure I'll use it until I get annoyed with it. But if I'm not that I race, but if I am racing, I'm imagining that if I'm just beating everybody off the line, who cares about noise? Like, it's all about just the go, like the exhilaration that you get from actually driving. So that's just one of the things that I think realistically people are going to, adopt. They're not really going to care about as much as we're claiming. And then perfect segue, the speed. Oh man. The first EV vehicle that I've sat in was the Jaguar I-Type, which is their electronic vehicle. It is their crossover, which crossovers are super popular, and they have been here for, nearly the past 5 years. Let me tell you, man, oh my goodness. If you've ever sat in a vehicle where it's just straight torque, where somebody just gets on the gas and you fly back, your head flies back into the seat, it's probably it seems a lot harsher than what I'm making it sound, but it's really fun. I mean, straight go, there's no lag. It's just a great experience. I think people are going to enjoy it. And there's just a lot of reasons to get with an EV. So I just gave you mine. I'm interested in knowing a little bit more about yours and what other objections you have about EVs. Like I said, I currently own a truck, and I'm looking to adopt an electric vehicle in the near future. I mean, if it's going to have the same, if not more, towing capacity, the performance is going to be there, the looks are going to be better. I mean, why not, right? So as we see more EVs, I do think that the prices of them will not be so high and, just in your face. I do think that it's going to calm down a little bit. And I also think that, it just comes with a more open mind. Like, think about what you want for the future. It's simple as that. Nobody's saying you got to get rid of your gasoline old school. If that's your weekend driver, keep it. Nobody knows the future. However, there are predictions that by 2035, I believe, 2033, 2035, we're going to see nearly half of the entire North American market driving EVs. It's not that far, guys. So with that being said, I'm out. Gave you all the time that I have today, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast. Get back with me. Let me know the EVs. Let me know the ones that you like, the ones that you don't like, and let me know if you are concerned about adopting an EV, exactly why. I'd love to look into it further for you. As always, TreyFindsTx.com. Click that automotive button. That's the place to go. Send me a message, and I look forward to keeping in touch. Until next time.